At the start of the story, we find Romeo Montague in a state of deep, quiet melancholy. He isn't thinking about the family feud or the political tension in Verona. Instead, he is lost in the ache of unrequited love for a woman named Rosaline. He's a young man who feels things with an overwhelming, almost exhausting intensity. To help him move past this sorrow, his friends suggest he attend a masquerade ball hosted by the Capulets. It's a dangerous idea, a Montague walking into a Capulet house. But Romeo goes, wearing a mask, seeking nothing more than a distraction from his own heart. The moment he steps into the Capulet ballroom, everything changes. He sees Juliet, the daughter of Lord Capulet, and the world shifts. It isn't just a crush, it is an immediate, transformative recognition. For Romeo, the light of the room seems to center entirely on her. For Juliet, there is a sudden, terrifying realization that this stranger is the boy she has just fallen for. They speak, they share a look, and they fall in love in a single evening. But the tragedy of the play is set in motion the moment they realize who they are. Romeo realizes that his only love has sprung from his only hate. Instead of retreating, their passion only accelerates. They find a way to meet in secret, leading to that famous, quiet moment on Juliet's balcony. In the moonlight, they decide that their names, Montague and Capulet, shouldn't matter. They decide to marry, not to bridge the gap between their families, but to escape it. They turn to Friar Lawrence, a man who sees in their sudden union a chance to do something the city desperately needs. He agrees to marry them in secret, hoping that this marriage might act as a catalyst to turn the ancient hatred of the families into a lasting peace. But the peace the friar hopes for is destroyed almost immediately. The tension in the streets of Verona boils over. Tybalt, Juliet's hot-tempered and proud cousin, is incensed that a Montague has dared to enter their home. He seeks a fight, and in the ensuing chaos, Romeo's friend Mercutio is killed. Romeo, driven by a sudden violent impulse to defend his friend in his honor, kills Tybalt. In an instant, the romantic momentum of the play is shattered. The prince arrives to deliver the sentence. Romeo is banished from Verona. This banishment is the pivot point where the story shifts from a budding romance into a downward spiral. Romeo is sent away to Mantua, leaving Juliet in a state of absolute isolation. Her family, unaware of her secret marriage, moves to force her into a marriage with Count Paris, a man she does not love. Juliet is caught between her duty as a daughter and her vows as a wife. Desperate, she turns back to Friar Lawrence. The friar's solution is a desperate one. He gives Juliet a sleeping potion that will make her appear dead for 42 hours. The plan is intricate. She will wake in the Capulet tomb. Romeo will be waiting there to whisk her away to Mantua, and they will live their lives together in exile. It is a plan built on the hope of a miracle, but it fails because of a series of catastrophic accidents. A messenger sent to explain the plan to Romeo is delayed because of an outbreak of the plague, preventing him from reaching Romeo in Mantua. Romeo receives word only that Juliet is dead. He has no idea about the potion. Driven by a grief so profound it leaves him hollow, Romeo returns to Verona. He goes to the Capulet tomb to say goodbye to his wife. There he encounters Count Paris, who is also there to mourn. A fight breaks out, and Romeo kills Paris before entering the tomb. He finds Juliet lying there, looking as though she is still sleeping. But to him, she is a corpse. In his despair, he buys a potent poison from an apothecary and drinks it, dying by her side. Moments later, the potion wears off. Juliet wakes up to find the tomb filled with the scent of death. She sees Romeo lying dead beside her. There is no time for a long goodbye or a way out. She takes his dagger and kills herself, choosing to follow him into the silence. When the sun rises, the families and the prince arrive at the tomb to find the scene of the tragedy. Friar Lawrence arrives to explain the secret marriage and the failed plan, but the damage is irreversible. The sight of their children, dead by each other's hands, finally breaks the cycle of violence. Faced with the devastating cost of their hatred, the Capulets and Montagues agree to end their feud, but it is a hollow victory. The peace they finally find is built on the graves of their children. When we look at the play as a whole, there is a constant tension between fate and human choice. We often call Romeo and Juliet star-crossed lovers, a term that suggests their tragedy was written in the stars before they were even born. There is a sense that the universe itself is conspiring against them, working through accidents, delays, and bad timing to ensure their end. Yet, the play also places the responsibility squarely on the characters' shoulders. It is the impulsive decisions of the lovers, the reckless anger of Tybalt, and the misguided schemes of Friar Lawrence that drive the action. The tragedy arises from the collision of cosmic fate and human error. The imagery in the play also plays a massive role in how we feel the weight of their story. Shakespeare uses a heavy contrast between light and dark. The lovers often speak of each other in terms of light, the sun, the stars, torches, and lightning. Their passion is bright and blinding. But there is a recurring irony in this. Their love can only exist in the dark. They can only meet under the cover of night. They can only marry in secret shadows, and ultimately their union is only finalized in the darkness of a tomb. The very thing that makes their love feel so intense and beautiful is also what makes it so dangerous and unsustainable. The pacing of the play is incredibly fast. In the timeline of the story, almost everything happens within a few days. This rapid escalation mirrors the volatility of the characters' emotions. Romeo and Juliet go from meeting to marriage to death in a heartbeat. This speed prevents the characters and the audience from having time to pause, to reflect, or to reconsider their choices. It creates a sense of inevitability, as if the characters are caught in a landslide that cannot be stopped once it has begun. Ultimately, the play is a study of the cost of hatred. The feud between the Montagues and the Capulets is a systemic, generational conflict. It is a grudge that the characters didn't start, but one they are forced to live within. The tragedy shows how long-standing conflicts create a cycle of violence that eventually consumes the innocent. The parents' hatred creates a world so toxic that the only way for the children to find peace is through death. The reconciliation at the end is not a happy one. It is a somber realization that the price of ending the feud was the very thing they should have been protecting, their future.